full disclosure, this is our first time ever trying this out.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is we're both entrepreneurs. And so we're just going to speak about a few different topics, just freely and openly. And um, yeah, so who knows what this will go like, because sometimes we're two different types of personalities and opinions. But
Yeah.
basically, do you want to tell us a little about your background?
Sure. I got my real estate license when I was 22 years old. It was kind of a mess trying to get my life together, figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up. So I got my real estate license. I ended up getting sober when I was 23 because that was a big problem. Trying to have success in something and having those demons or those, vices that didn't work. So first thing I learned is I had to abandon all those vices and clear my life of, distractions, things that were holding me back. Got into investing a few years later, doing rehabs. Then, uh, started building rental portfolio and done, thousands of transactions as far as buys, sells, wholesale deals, flips. Built a management company up to 600 doors. Um, Now I'm doing some land development, building a couple small neighborhoods. But all along the way, I've only worked for myself and learned a lot of lessons.
And I'm Jamie. I'm in a completely different type of industry. I'm a nurse by trade and have a long history of healthcare from the ground up, but I own an aesthetics company where we train entrepreneurs to become nurse injectors. I've been an injector myself for 12 years. And what is similar about the both of our companies, ironically, is it's kind of a similar setup. I own a management company, he owns a management company. He says doors, I say nurses, right? So it's kind of similar, but yet completely opposite type of industries. But I wanted to talk about some of the challenges I think that entrepreneurs face and some of what you have taught me the standards would be to become an entrepreneur and how to sustain the entrepreneurship mindset and dedication and commitment. And I think one thing you've taught me in my duration of knowing you as an entrepreneur is having standards is important, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
In what aspects would you say?
Well, in every area of your life. So it started off for me, with standards because I was just kind of a gunslinger mentality, hustler, getting things done when I was in sales and doing rehabs, right? I just worked around the clock if I had to, and just, I would build the airplane while I was flying, And then it started with me personally having standards, right? Is where that foundation was. Going to the gym and starting to eat better, I had to have standards for myself, right? And then that developed into standards for my parenting and how I raise my kids. And then, as you start to get your life a little more organized as an entrepreneur, because everything's on you, right? From business and in life, it all kind of blends together when you're an entrepreneur. What I found, what you do at home, will affect your business life. Your business life, if you bring it home, will affect your personal life. So as I started to get my life together, my health together, wanting, having standards for myself, having standards for my body, having standards for my parenting and my kids. And then I started to realize I need to have the same standards in business and the type of culture that I have, that I develop, the type of people that we hire and have around, our integrity, our, how we treat each other, right? So, we have standards and we have a mission statement for our business, which for us is to give owners of property, investment properties, the freedom back and peace of mind knowing that their investments, their wealth are being treated and taken care of better than they could or anyone else. And so for us to do that, we had to not only have that mindset for our owners and tenants, but we had to have that mindset for each other, right? So you need to do your part, because when you slack or you don't say what you do, what you say you're going to do, it trickles down to me and my whatever my lane is in the business, and affects me, and so on and so on. So accountability.
I would also say that's integrity, right? Saying
Yeah.
saying you're going to do something and doing what you say.
Yeah, yeah. And when you're an entrepreneur, everything is on you. You know, when you're a business owner, everything's on you. You set the stage, you set the standards, you set the culture, and you have to live by it first, because they're watching you. You know, they're like kids. They're watching you, and you're directing you. When you see someone out of line, you have to handle that, because the rest of them see it, and they see that this person gets away with it, this person slacks, and there's no consequences, or there's no, they're still working here, so they will too. So it's really holding up that standard super important, and having, deciding what your standards are, and then living by them first, and then requiring everyone else to live by them as well within your business. And for me, home, friends, we all have the same, from my friends to my kids to my employees and to the people that are above me that I choose to work with, banks, investors, clients, owners. We vet everyone to have the same standards and same mindset.
I think mindset is where it all starts, and staying disciplined with that. What are the things you do in life to sustain that mentality and have that positive mindset? Because I, as a leader myself, think that I lead by example and by influence, right? Like that I should be a representation of what I preach. But I often find myself stuck at times, right? Because we're only human by nature, and we have our down days and our hard moments, and sometimes you don't feel like you have a bunch of people to turn to because you are the leader.
That was really water that time. Funny story. Jamie got a bird shit on her head yesterday.
Yes.
She thought it was a giant raindrop. Turns out, nope, it was giant, all right, but it wasn't rain.
I think that it's good luck somehow. I don't know.
So now she's a little, has some PTSD,
a little paranoid that
little drop of water just fell on her.
Yes, out
She
of
was
nowhere. And I was like, this couldn't have
all right.
happened. But yes, how would you say you yourself sustain a positive mindset or the discipline that it takes to lead and have all those core values and sustain all those core values?
Well, I believe in God. I'm a Christian, but even before that, I had a higher power. And in recovery, when I got sober, I learned about that higher power. I was introduced to that higher power, God. And, was taught that the only, let me think this one. I learned that in God's world, everything's okay. If something doesn't go your way or you don't get something you want, it's because you weren't supposed to, and that there's something better waiting for you on the other side, right? And that you're gonna probably look back and say, man, I'm glad I didn't get that thing I thought I couldn't live without. Or I'm glad that this didn't go my way, because now look at where I'm at. And so many times I would be upset or mad or feel like I failed or want to quit or be down on myself when something happened that felt catastrophic, because when you're an entrepreneur, things are not going to go your way. Life still happens. But then when I realized that, like, okay, maybe it wasn't supposed to happen. What's next? What's still in front of me to work on? Because there are things, I promise. And then when I learned to just accept, turn it over, and start to work, to just start doing what was in front of me as diligently as I did the thing I thought I had to have, then I'm always looking back and realizing that there was a better plan for me out there. Now, there was times where I would just pound through walls, right? And make stuff happen. And I did this in every area of life, relationships, business, you name it. And so many times I would get what I wanted and then look back later and be like, damn, watch what you asked for. because you know, and,
Yeah.
and just so it's trusting God really is the mindset I have, and then doing my part. Now, if I fail at something or something doesn't go my way, I don't make the money I need to make, I don't get the deal I want to get, something doesn't happen the way I want, and I didn't do my part, then I feel horrible. Then I can't live with myself.
But
So
we're humans, so we make mistakes. And I always say,
yeah,
like, God's redirection is God's protection. But easier said than done, right? Because sometimes when you're in the thick of it, it
yeah,
doesn't feel like it's His blessing or His will. You know, it feels bad. But then when you look back a year later, you can see that it was one of the greatest blessings in disguise.
that's exactly what I'm talking about. But there's a difference for me in redirection and not doing my part.
Yeah.
Like if I don't do my part and it fails, it's on me.
Yeah.
If I do my part and I don't get what I want or it fails, then it was meant to be. Like I wasn't supposed to have it. And that's why I think it's important for us entrepreneurs, and I know you know this, so I see you do it. If I do my, it's like playing a game. If I leave it all on the field and we lose, I can stomach that. But if we don't put it all on the field or on the rink or whatever it is, and we lose, I'm mad at myself and everyone else is, we're all to blame.
So I think another subject is distractions, right? There's a lot of life distractions nowadays, like from social media, and then we have families and we have friends and we are influenced by all these external things. How do you battle distractions to stay on track to accomplish the goals you intend to accomplish?
I have targets, right? Which you might call goals, but I call them targets, right? And I'm really good at just staying online. There's not a lot that's going to distract me anymore. I've been through all the distractions of life, right? Things I thought I had to have or wanted or material things, and that I focus on and kind of make my target. Have this thing, to be at this place, I've had all those, and I found once again, if I focus on my targets, my goals, right, my standards, which we already talked about, I get everything I want. I don't have to go for that big car, that ass car. I don't have to go for that house. I can want them and know I'm going to have them, but I'm not going for them. I'm going for my standards every day, doing my part, and I have targets built out, and I know the standards and the steps I need to do to get there. Like building a business with your business. This many nurses, this many nurses, this many nurses will get us here, will get us here, will get us here. But you, every day you get up and you go put in the hard work to provide value for those nurses. You put in the work to get better products, cheaper prices, better training. Because you know if you do that every day and you do those things, you already have the targets set, you know what it takes to get there, you know?
Well, I find one common theme in my life, no matter what level where I'm at, is I always see that everything can be better. It doesn't ever end, right?
Yeah, that's
It's
the
like,
blessing and a curse.
yeah, because it's like, how do you find contentment? Because you reach a goal and a level you want it to be at, and then you're like, yeah, but it could still be better. And now I want to do this. And I feel like I don't focus on necessarily the financial means and the things and the monetary. I really do focus on the value and the passion and literally the purpose, right? I created a business out of purpose that turned into profits. Really, when I brought on my business partner, yes, it was a non-for-profit business because I would do it all for free, right? And I do think, I do think, and this isn't going to be a stereotype in any sort of way because everyone's going to vary from personality to personality, but what would you say the difference is now knowing a woman entrepreneur versus a male entrepreneur? How do you think we think similar and how do you think we think different?
This is a tough one because I feel like you women are vicious, way more than men. Maybe not you to other people, but the women around.
Yeah.
Like things like, I had a deal fall apart yesterday. It was a big deal, right?
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, you heard the conversation. It was totally unexpected. It was a bomb dropped on me when we got here. and I'm losing like 10 grand over it, and someone's going to lose their job because they don't have a place for them anymore. So I'm not doing this deal. But it was like he called, we talked, he told me, I told him how I felt about it. He's like, well, this is why I'm bailing. We did our thing and hung up the phone. When I watched, when I watch the women, it's like they're gossiping, lying, trying to run like the girls we dealt with, trying to run names through the mud and just really going hard and personal. When I just lost 10 grand yesterday and I'm gonna have to possibly let someone lose their job over this person killing this deal, which is, I almost think I can sue them over, but I don't think I will. And it's like, I think him and I are both sitting on respective sides of this a day or two later going, it's what it meant to be, and we'll move on. And I'm not going to go kill him or try, in the character assassinate him, do all those things. But I think you guys, when you're dealing women to women to women, you've got to really think with these emotions and about, like, they're tougher, man. They're harder.
Well,
Women are harder than men.
So
but
would
now
you
on
agree?
you, real quick, with you as the entrepreneur, though, the difference I see is, I don't know if it's a woman thing or the type of entrepreneur you are, but you're such a visionary and you like just go hard on feeling in your vision, and you just won't step over all the details, and you just want these nurses to have what you've had. You want it to be everywhere. And I feel like men are a little more logical, and they've thought the steps out. You're going from A to Z, and then the rest will take care of itself in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a woman thing or not, though, or just a you thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. So you would say definitely you could agree that women base a lot of decisions based off emotion and
Yes.
intuition, and men are more logical and rational.
Yes.
They look at numbers and facts and details, and we are vested in what feeling is, basically.
Most men, you have men that are just, yeah, we're going, what's the consequences of this? What's going to happen, to where I feel like, women are more emotional feeling based.
Yeah. What's it like dating a woman?
On one part, the thing about it when we got together that I liked the most is you understood me. And there was no hurt feelings or no accusing me of the things that entrepreneurs get accused of. Like if we're taking a call at late at night, we have to work a Saturday. We're present, but really not present because we just had a bomb dropped on us. You'd be like, oh, I get it. Don't worry, I'll drive. You can talk on the phone all you want while we drive to dinner or whatever. You put this fire out.
Yeah.
You understood. And like, you wouldn't get in your head or, get butthurt about things.
Yeah.
And then you would be having that same issue go on another day or something. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, cool, I get it.
Or like when I'm going to dinner with the doctor.
Oh yeah, you're going to dinner with a rich doctor.
That I met on a plane like days before, and it was just business.
Yeah, I met this guy. Yeah, we're going to this rich guy. He's taking me to dinner. He's a doctor. Yeah. But don't worry, Jeff. It's totally nothing to worry about here.
But do you think like being in a relationship with an entrepreneur, whether it's a dual entrepreneurship or single, like you have to have that? It's the same standards and characteristics. You have to have that integrity, that trust, to build that trust, to be able to support them, because imagine having a spouse that's nagging at you every time this stuff's happening. It lowers your morale. It
kills your momentum.
Oh my gosh. And it just vibe. Then your brain's scattered all over the place because your business is your baby also, and it's like you don't want to sacrifice one for the other, but you just want to support a person that's going to back you through these hardships and challenges and the wins as well. But wouldn't you agree that you have to have common goals and like see the visions together, and like you have to communicate these types of things to keep going and be able to roll off the late night phone calls or the change of plans, or we got to shorten a trip by a day or two because of this, or...
Yeah, you've got to be able you've
Roll
got
with the punches.
to roll with the punches and understand that plans are well intentioned, but not always set in stone. Can't, you know, especially if you're really driving and you really have targets you want to hit that are, you know, they're big, you know, because what happens is I have a friend of mine that talks about seduction of success, right? And I see it all the time in my business, just with entrepreneurs that I hire, like my executives that I hire that are high level in the business and kind of run their own little mini departments and businesses under them. They get to that salary that they always wanted, and then boom, they want to just be there. They don't want to rock the boat, you know. They don't want to, you know. They're happy. They get a little lazy. They get a little complacent, and to where, and you know, if for me, if I could live this way the rest of my life and make the money I make today the rest of my life, I would live pretty good. But I'm not even close to where I want to be. So it doesn't register to me that I'm at this great content place, even though I have a pretty good life and I can do things like sit on the fourth story of our Airbnb on the beach doing a podcast over the ocean.
And full disclosure, this is a work trip, just by the way. But again, I made a reel earlier about making the best of all of it, right? And so we have to pivot as entrepreneurs because things change all the time. So a couple days did open up to where we could bring our family, enjoy the beach while we still actually have a training while we're growing injectors in the beautiful place in North Carolina. It's been an
interesting time. Nice beach though.
Nice people for sure.
Nice people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I don't even know what the question was.
Well, we can move on to, is there anything else you would want to share, like hardships or tips about entrepreneurship and mindset, and discipline, standards, values?
So I don't believe that people anymore, I don't believe that it exists, have a job for 30, 40 years in a pension or a 401k and then retire comfortably. I don't feel like that's a thing anymore. Now, unfortunately, I feel like a lot of the people in those jobs haven't figured that out yet, but they will. You just, like in my world, you can't buy, median home price is $400,000. Median household income is still under 100. No, so those people can't afford to even buy a home until they're 10, 20 years into the jobs. So I use that as an example because I believe that everyone that sees this can apply these principles to themselves and realize that whether you are in a job or you're like, you know what, I'm sick of the old system of staying at this 40-hour-a-week job helping someone else get wealthy, and I'm going to go do my own thing, whether it be a nurse injector or get into real estate investing or whatever it is you want to do. You decide you want to, whether you do that or not, at least bet on yourself, on something that you love, whether it be in real estate, whether you want to, be a nurse injector on the side and not give up your job yet. At least bet on yourself somewhere. You're going to have to put extra time in, but it's going to be worth it. The opportunities are endless out there as an entrepreneur. I have friends that have those jobs, and I say keep them. I'm not telling you to get out and start a whole new thing. Keep them. Just what money you make, let's invest over here so you really can retire someday and make something, of yourself. So
I believe in turning passions into profits, and
yes.
So I really, as many nurse injectors as I want, because again, the purchasing power, everything, not everybody is made to be one, and that's what I want people to understand too. When they're choosing this as their career, I want them to become obsessed with it. I don't want them to remain mediocre or be a little side hustle. I want them to see their greatness, their potential out of it, and really work towards that. And like with injecting, I think it's more than just doing the physical act of injecting. You're really making someone externally confident to build their internal confidence.
Yeah.
And now you're making them better to be a better wife, a better employee, a better mom. Because just think about when your self-esteem is raised a little bit, you feel good, you're better at everything. And I love converting nurses, though, that go from that, 12-hour shifts, not 9 to 5, and then they get obsessed with overtime. But they get to convert, we call us the Uber of aesthetics. Like, we're giving them the foundation and fundamentals to build a business upon, because we kind of are bad entrepreneurs, because providers are such a giver and want to heal and make people better, but it's uncomfortable attaching a price to that. But I really feel like empowering those nurses to become entrepreneur is the way of the world. Like, just like you said, 9 to 5s are kind of out, so you can build a passion. But I think people have the misconception of being an entrepreneur and like getting to work whenever you want. When in real,
Yeah, you're not like, I'm going to quit my job and go be an entrepreneur, an injector, a nurse injector, or real estate, whatever it is for you, because I want to sleep in longer and I want to have more vacations. That can come, but you are going to have to put in the work at first.
Well,
and the reason I say it like I do with people, like, at least invest, at least become an injector and do it on the side, because you're investing in yourself. Because what I find happens is, it's hard. They got those golden handcuffs. They make just enough money to take care of their family, take care of themselves, just enough, but not enough to have any freedom in life. And it's scary to break them. And so sometimes it is easier just to dip your toe in and get started. And then what'll happen is, if you love to help people, which that needs to be the foundation, that's what I hear you saying, is you got to want to help people. It has to be for people. What I do because I want to give entrepreneurs their freedom back and peace of mind, so they can be with their families, so they can be buying more houses. You want to make people feel beautiful, empower them, and help them enhance their lives. You'll get addicted to it, and you will eventually move into it full time. But some people, I feel like they need to start small. I don't know.
yeah, I do feel though, like when you go on vacations, it's never a full vacation. You are always working, right? But like, it's not like you just get all this time off delegated as if you had a 9 to 5 job.
You have to take a peek every once in a while and be available for it, but you can vacation if you plan it right. But you will have to look at your email, check your phone once or twice a day. You're never totally away from it.
Yeah. I think that's a misconception a lot of entrepreneurs have, thinking owning their own business, they make their own schedule. Wouldn't that be so nice? But nurses especially are locked in at a hospital where, like, literally your schedule's out 2 or 3 months ahead of time, and if you want to go watch your kids' band concert, you have to switch with someone, get approval ahead of time. Where, like, entrepreneurship, you have the flexibility to adapt and change.
You have flexibility.
But I'm going to tell you, building a business, I missed a lot of those events because it had to be a priority in the beginning, right? Because it takes so much in building, and I couldn't be lackadaisical if I wanted to be successful. But I feel like I have a hard time balancing from 110 miles an hour to 7. And sometimes when I pull back and let things flow organically, everything falls in place. But how do you find the balance of that?
Well, I drive my kid to school every day. I pick them up off the bus. So I get those, which I know a lot of my friends don't, right? But I will work a little on the vacation, But I like that. I like it that way. I don't miss the events unless it's something super important, like a big deal that's going to enhance my life or their lives even greater. Then I will sacrifice time here and there, or events or sports events, things like that, if I have to. But mostly I can make them because it can be flexible, or I can work from the stands, right? But yeah, there are some sacrifices that you have to make, and it's just which one do you want? It's like, which of the evils are you going to go? The one where you're locked into hours, where whatever falls in those time frames, you never get to be available for, picking your kid up, dropping them off, whichever one you choose, or have to skip an event because of your families or someone you love, because you have an important client or a bigger deal that means more in the big picture than missing this hour-long practice or game. And so I just weigh it out, in each scenario, and I try to do the things that I can, and make sure that when I have the time, I do those things with them, whether it be spend the afternoon with them, taking them to school, picking them up, go on a vacation. Even if I've spent a lot of time with them, I do it because, for all I know, I could have a month to where I'm so busy, I barely get to spend any time with them. So I make sure that when it's available, I get it in.
Yeah, I call it seasons. Sometimes my season of focus might be business, and then all of a sudden I realize that I just work 60 hours a week times 6 months, and I'll be like, okay, it's time to redirect my focus, and now I'm going to be a little bit more kid oriented, or a little bit more friend oriented, or relationship. But I do try to find like the flow daily, if possible, weekly, you know. But I do believe that life shifts in seasons, and sometimes all that matters, because it matters if you can put a roof over your child's head, right? Like sometimes career does have to come first, but then sometimes you can set that aside and be like, there's nothing on fire right now, but I can pull back and now shift because the well-being of, you know, them or whoever, you know, takes precedence. But
Yeah.
all right, well, I think this was a good start. Maybe we'll do this more often.
Yeah.
See, it took 2.5 years to get here, but
Yeah. Yeah. It depends on if anyone wants to hear it, I
it
guess.
didn't become a debate. That's what I was most nervous about.
We need to debate.
You never know what you're going to get with them for sure. If you know, you know.